Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the one, the only, welcome to RaceFace.Pro, and welcome to Spa-Francorchamps, a circuit that is synonymous of going and making legends. It's also had legendary crashes on the way through, Radion Eau Rouge being the main one for that, going and actually getting changed earlier this year due to how much carnage can come out of it. Into Les Coum is going to be something to keep an eye out for, especially if you can get the run through Radion, through Eau Rouge, and keep the power on all the way through. So keep a very close eye on the competition as they look to power their way around. Python into Stavelot are the two corners. That's going to be a little bit of follow the leader. Blanchemont, always one to keep an eye out for. We've seen many passes around the outside. Something tells me though, with Tim in my ear, saying that maybe tonight's going to be a little bit different on our passes, and we'll have to take a look at that. And our final corners being Bus Stop and La Source, going and rounding out our circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. But one thing I do want to point out is we do have our Pro-Am and AMs racing this evening around Spa-Francorchamps. And ladies and gentlemen, drum roll please, because Tim is giving me the reports, and from what I can see on the cameras, we're going to be starting with our qualifying session in the next 1 minute and 50 seconds. It is raining cats and dogs out there, and that is going to change the entire ball game of what this race is all about. So bear in mind, it's going to be a very interesting run for the race, with it absolutely raining like no tomorrow. We do have a couple of things on. Pitwall is available for drivers to go and take a look. Teams and even you guys at home able to go and follow the race and take a look at how it's all going to turn out, who's going to be able to get themselves right out to the top order. Couple of drivers that we do have out on the circuit: Cameron de Bastos, Ruan van der Race, Bernard Barkhuizen, Reginald Mutoleni, Jean-Ray Buerta, Hansi Myberg, Gerard Pretorius, Tienes Buerta, Rob van der Hever, Darren Miller, Altman Buertma, Jaco Kutzer, along with Grant Sebastian, Tini and Kube, Graham Mull, and Vessel Wooder going to be rounding out our field. Remember, it is a mixture of Pro and Pro-Ams that are going to be heading out onto the circuit. So while we're waiting for the all clear from our race officials to cut down to the circuit, I want to go and remind everyone, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Absolutely incredible to have you guys here. And we do have a couple of things going on. It'll be really awesome for everyone to go and hit that subscribe button along with the bell notification icon. Share the link, because this is our second last race of the season, and it's all on the cards for our drivers to go and score some valuable points right to the end, and no one wants to be left out of the running, especially this close to the end of the season. Our final two races for the RaceFace GT3 Sprint Series Season 11 and our Sprint Series for 2023. Just getting reports back from Tim that, well, it seems like the whole world has changed at this point. And he says, well, he's taking his rain jacket off. So from pouring rain, we go to sunshine, which that may change the game up a little bit. So let's head down to the circuit as we see Ruan van der Rust heading out onto the track. You can see a little bit of damp conditions from the earlier rain, but sunshine is out for our drivers. And let's go through the field. Cameron de Bastos in the McLaren, Ruan van der Race in the Ferrari, Bernard Barkhuizen in the big mighty BMW, Reginald Mutoleni in the mighty Honda, hoping for a bit of VTEC this evening, Jean-Ray Buerta in the Porsche 992 GT3 R, and good to see him out there. Hansi Myberg in the big BMW. I'm going to say is a car I've been rather successful around in the circuit configuration, well, in Spa in general. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it can do. The 296 Ferrari of Gerard Pretorius getting overtaken by Tini and Kube in the Lamborghini. And there is Tienes Buerta in the McLaren 720S. Rob van der Hever parked off to the line. He's getting himself all sorted out. So quite a few very, very interesting vehicles that are going to be taking their chance around the circuit. Ultimate Burtner, though, in the lone Bentley, will be trying to power his way through, scoring some valuable points towards the end of his championship. Jaco Kutzer, along with Grant Sebastian, back in the CDs. Good to see him out there. Eat, sleep, and repeat. Good to see the Mad Panda Motorsport colors. And Tini and Kube in the Lamborghini, as said earlier. Graham Moll, and followed by Vessel Wooder, rounding out our field this evening. And that being said, let's get a little bit of volume to hear the cars as they make their way through. This is a open qualifying session, so the drivers aren't going to be singled out. They've got to battle it out with one another. All the different classes going to be duking out. Bernard Barkhuizen hoping to get a bit of time in, and also some valuable data for his race tomorrow evening. Been on a almighty charge for the championship. Not going to be backing out of it this evening. So, that being said, take a look. We got Kerry Duplessis saying, Gramadola Sim Racing win. Ons is nie last nie. So good to see that Duplessis going and saying, how's it? And one thing I've got to point out is you're not in the race, which is a bit weird because we've usually seen you in the race doing really, really well. So getting caught out like that, a little bit concerning. Maybe you can give us a bit of an insight of what's happened, of why you're out of it. Let's take a look though at who is leading the championship as it stands. So Bernard Barkhuizen is leading the championship with Eric Kirstein in second place. I don't see Eric Kirstein here this evening. Kieran Patterson is third in the championship. I don't see him this evening, along with Grant Sebastian running fourth in the championship, so do not count him out. This is for our pros. Darren Miller is also up in the championships. He's in fifth place, and I'm just trying to see Mr. Miller if he's here. There he is. Our PWSR Bravo making his way through, line fifth in the championship. Tini and Kube is running sixth in the championship, followed by Tianis Burta, who is sitting in 7th, Christopher Radloff in 8th, Cameron de Bastos in 9th, followed by Beggar Krobler, Kieran Duplessis, Cabello Matamai, Daniel de Villiers, Ryan Ottens, Jean-Ray Buerta. They're all looking to move themselves up. Jean-Ray Buerta actually lying in 15th position, so he really needs to try and pick up the pace for his championship this evening if he wants to try and climb out of that bottom rung at the moment. Moving on to our Pro-Ams, we have got LaRue out in first place. Don't see him here tonight, unfortunately. But Graham Moll, who is second in the championship, if he gets a positive result tonight, will be able to usurp LaRue and get that top spot. So let's see what he will be able to do. Graham Moll in second place in the championship will need to really put his all on the line. And then we have got Kutsi, who is running third in the championship. So keep an eye on this McLaren. He needs to get ahead of Graham Moll by the end of the race. Running in fourth in the championship is Altsman Berthma. The big Bentley, being Mr. Consistent, has moved him up through the order. Funny here, running in fifth of the championship, Hansi Myberg. He is also trying to move his way through the championship, is lying sixth. Reginald Mutileni is running seventh. So keep an eye on the couple of drivers that are out there tonight. A lot of them are looking to score some valuable points and walk away with the championship for the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series. And Harry Duplessis saying level 6 load shedding is not helping. I've got to say that is one of the biggest problems that's been happening of late to all our drivers, and why we are missing quite a few drivers this evening is due to the massive amount of load shedding we're having here in South Africa. And when we talk about levels, we're not talking about who's got the highest score in Super Mario. We are talking about power being out. So drivers unable to make it to the circuit this evening. But it's good to see, like Duplessis, going and tuning in. He's going to be watching from the sidelines, supporting his team, which is always positive to see. I love going and seeing the guys putting in that little bit of support, saying, don't worry, we're going to be a part of it. We want to see how it all turns out in the long run. So, Bernard Barkhuizen out in first place with the 228-1, trying to get ahead of Darren Miller, who's currently in second place. Tinian Kube lying in third. It is drying up on the circuit, so expect those times to get a bit quicker. Graham Moll currently in fourth with Cameron de Bastos, who is in fifth place, still yet to put in a time. So is Ruan van der Race, Reginald Muteleni, Jean-Ray Buerta, Hansi Myberg, Gerard Pretorius, Tianus Buerta, Rob van der Heever. Now, we did talk about Rob van der Heever was actually part of a championship. So he's needing to score a few points this evening. Ultimate Buerta out there, Jaco Kutsi, Grant Sebastian, and Vessel Wooder around the circuit as well for Team GSR, hoping to get a little bit more pace underneath him. Darren Millett going and actually bettering his last lap time, 1.6 seconds up on his last lap time, 1.8 as he makes his way through the bus stop. Will it be enough to beat that 2-minute 28? I think he will smash it out the box. Gets himself into second place, but Cameron de Bastos, Mr. Tabasco sauce himself, the prop, going and taking the thunder away from him, doing a 2:26.8. So Cameron de Bastos right out of the blocks, going and just stealing the thunder from the teammate, who is now lying in second place. Battle of the PWSRs, it seems like it. Tinian Kube puts himself in third place with a 2:27.7 ahead of Bernard Barkhuizen. Remember, Bernard was out a little bit earlier when there wasn't as of a dry line. This time around, it seems like it's getting better and better. Track conditions are getting better, so you want to try and get your car sorted out, dialed in, and get going. Graham Moll, 2.7 seconds up on his last lap time. Hansi Myberg is 0.6 up on his last lap time. So Graham Moll trying to throw the 992 Porsche around. He's got the windscreen wipers on, trying to figure out where to turn that one off. The 992 Porsche, one of the new cars that got introduced into iRacing towards a late, not iRacing, wrong sim. That was last night. And it wasn't even a Porsche. It was all TCR, so it was Hondas. Do forgive me, Porsche. I know you're not a front-wheel drive, but your glorified Beetle is going around. Currently in sixth place, looking to move his way up through the order. Graham Moll putting the power down. Does jump up into fifth place. Hansi Myberg going to try and retaliate. He's currently 0.8 up on his last lap time, using that beaver teeth BMW to try and power his way through. It's going to be a bit of a tricky one. You can see still ground little puddles lying all over the show. The track very, very green as it stands, so there's a little bit slick out there for a lot of the drivers who are still trying to get in a good time. Couple of corners to be aware of. Blanchemont bus stop, and also up onto the top of Radion, and especially through Eau Rouge, you can drop a wheel off and that will give you an off track. So expect to see some off tracks being picked up this evening, and drivers going and pushing the boundaries of what they can do over and over. The pit exit is also one to keep an eye out. You come out through the kink flat out, you got to try and climb your way up through the hill, and you come into the racing line of all your competitors. So bear in mind, if you're in a side-by-side battle and you got a chap that's coming up through the pit exit, you are going to land up with a third car sitting in your door. Not as quick, but will be a viable threat heading into the corners ahead. Reginald Metaleni in 10th position. Hansi Myberg as he climbs his way up through Eau Rouge. All looks beautiful up there. Looks pretty stable on the way through, so he's going to be quite happy with it, and it's actually helped him out. 0.6 of a lap time. Does look like Van der Heever back out. No, that isn't Van der Heever. That might be his teammate that is part of the Concourse Racing, trying to get the car a little bit sorted out. Rian van der Race trying to make his way through. This is heading towards Blanchemont. Long right-hander sweep that you got to really go and keep the power on. Sorry, left-hander sweep. You got to keep the power on all the way through. As you go under the bridge, white line, hit the brakes, get that nose to dive down. Second gear, turn it in, go for the first apex. A little bit too late there, go for the second apex. That looked a bit better. On the exit, you got to just keep the power down the whole way through coming across the line. Now, to give you a bit of a heads up, there is 2 lines on Spa. You have got your original line, which is before La Source, and you've got your start finish line, which is after La Source, heading down into Eau Rouge. So this is where the race is going to start. This is where turn 1 through Eau Rouge is going to be the make or break for a lot of these drivers who are looking to really stand up and get going. You want to get that early start. You want to launch your way through the order and power your way to the top. Taking a look though, Bernard Balkazen currently 2.2 seconds up on his previous time. The KSR factory team driver doing everything he can. Gets a little bit of a tank slap, but that's going to cost him a bit of time. Knocking off a little bit of pace. Now needs to keep it absolutely planted. 2.5 seconds. He's hoping to beat Cameron DeBastos' time of a 2:26.8. Darren Miller with a 2:27 dead. And I mean absolutely dead. Getting that one right. Tini Kube currently in 3rd. So Bernard Barkhuizen in 4th place. Now going on 3 seconds quicker than his last lap time. Going to go late on the brakes. Beautiful turn in through the bus stop. 2nd time round. That's all looking good. Nice and neat. A little bit of a touch on the brake just to try and settle the car out as he gets across the line, putting in the fast lap time at 2:24.5. You can see with track conditions coming into play, they're able to move themselves up through the order. Turning Kube in the mighty Lamborghini, going and powering his way through a little bit of hook at the curb through Blanchemont. That upsets the car quite a bit and will eat into the tire over time. So he's got to be very cautious with it. Bus stop all looking good. Running it nice and close to the sausage curbing. And I think that has done enough to jump him into 3rd place. No, 2nd place. So Tinian Kube gets himself into 2nd place. Let's see if Cameron DeBastos will be able to retaliate with that. And Darren Miller and Jaco Kutza up into 5th place. So Cameron DeBastos trying to make a bit of ground. Does look like his teammate Miller pulling off to the side. They're saying he's not able to get that pace just as yet. He's comfortable in his position. Oh, Cameron getting a bit of a tank slapper as he tries to wrestle the McLaren around. And we did find out that the McLaren is a little bit tricky around this circuit in particular due to its configuration. It does make it a rather difficult car to really lumber around and get the little bit more pace underneath it as he fights his way through. Jaco Kutza also in the McLaren trying to get a bit more pace. He's down in 6th position, 1.7 seconds up. And he's trying to get ahead of Run for the Race, who is 0.3 seconds up. Now hitting the way through Eau Rouge. That did not look comfortable. And that is what happens when you get it wrong. Sliding out. Thankfully, a lot of room there. But it tends to disappear when you add an almighty pace. Cameron DeBastos of the PWSR team. Now trying to get a little bit of momentum. 3.9 seconds up on his last lap time with this pace, so he may be able to get 1st place and give a fight to Bernard Barkhuizen. He does so, coming across the line at 2:22.6. Bernard Barkhuizen, how are you going to retaliate on this one? Now trying to fight his way through. It seems to be a game of chess. Your turn, my turn, and let's see what happens. And I've got to say, if you've ever watched Doctor Who, the Time Lords made chess first, and that's why he always wins. So let's see who's going to win this little chess battle, a battle of minds between Cameron DeBastos and Bernard Barkhuizen as he comes across the line. Bernard Barkhuizen taking the pole position away with a 2:21.6 ahead of Cameron DeBastos 2:22. Tinian Kube is content with his 3rd place. Will Jaco Kutza, who's currently running 4 seconds quicker. He's right behind the Porsche of Graham Mole as they come across the line. And that moves him up into 3rd place. Tinian Kube into 4th. Mole just not able to... sorry, that was Jean-Ro Buerta that moved himself up into 6th position. Graham Mole is currently 2.3 seconds up on his last lap time. Hansi Myberg 1.5. Ultimate Buerta 3.8 seconds quicker, heading into 4 seconds. That big Bentley has got some legs on it. And the Queen is calling. Can it get its way to the top? Hansi Myberg with the big BMW trying to pull out his inner Sheldon van der Linde at this point to get a little bit more pace underneath him. And then you have got Graham Mole, who is utilizing all the power, trying to pull all the spirit from Porsche's winning legacy, whether it be the 956, the 911, the 917, the 9.3, well, 9.5, 7, 9.5, all of that. Trying to pull it in, make it work in this 992 Porsche that has done so well in GT3 racing. He's 4.2 seconds up on his last lap time. That will move him up. Getting it all locked in, puts himself into 4th place. What a jump. Can Hansi Myberg go and follow suit? He's 4 seconds up on his last lap time. Really pushing as hard as he can. But I've got to say, Mr. Boertma, who was on a great charge, Ultimate Boertma, was also moving himself up through the order as Hansi Myberg comes across the line. So, now, let's take a look, ladies and gentlemen, as we will be heading to the race. Ultimate Boertma putting himself up into 6th position. He gained 8 seconds on that last run. So, Jim giving us a bit of information there that get ready to turn the lights on. Wets are suggested because we head down to the race. And that's what the conditions look like. Rain for the next 10 minutes. It is going to get better. It's going to be a bit cloudy. But that is going to change the plan. 1 pit stop mandatory, so it does allow a tire change. But when do you do it? That's what's going to leave people guessing. So let's take a look. Bernard Barkhuizen now in 1st place. Cameron de Bastos in 2nd place. Jaco Kutzer in 3rd place. Graham Mull currently in 4th with Tini Nkube, Ultimate Boertma, Vessel Wooder, Hansi Myberg, Jean-Ray Boerta, Reginald Muttolini, Darren Miller, Rian van der Race, Rob van der Heever, Tiernis Boerta, Gerard Pretorius, and Grant Sebastian rounding out our field. And taking a look to our grandstands, we do have Jean Leroux saying howdy from Sao Paulo Airport. Missing tonight's race sadly, but will be back just in time for tomorrow evening. And well, happy flights, happy travels all the way at Sao Paulo. That's definitely one I do want to go and visit. The heritage, the culture, and let's be honest, go and take a look at the racetrack that's there because it's just amazing. Good thing to see LaRue out here and giving a bit of support to his fellow teammates, his fellow friends, his comrades at arms, but also his competitors that are fighting it out for the championship. So LaRue keeping a very close eye on what's going to happen this evening. Strategies need to be changed due to the weather conditions changing. 16 cars lined up. It is a bit rainy out there. It is a bit wet. And for anyone that has ever been in these conditions, well, you're going to know for a fact that come the first corner, which is going to be Eau Rouge, cold tires, cold brakes, and Eau Rouge is no laughing matter, even at the best of times. Now take a look at that rooster tail getting kicked off from the back of the cars. Bernard Barkhuizen leading out the charge. Cameron de Bastos currently in 2nd place. Will be trying to get himself sorted out. I do think they're going to fall nose and stern. Grant Sebastian running out a little bit wide. And Gerard Pretorius trying to get himself all organized as they go side by side for the final time for the GT3 Sprint Series of 2023. We will be taking the green flag here at Spa. Bernard Barkhuizen trying to close off a gap to Cameron de Bastos as they're running line stern. Jaco Kutzer getting ahead of Graham Mull. Now trying to get a little bit more drive. Mull does look for the inside line, backed out of it. And take a look at the big Bentley going side by side with Vessel Wooder. A bit of it off though. That is Graham Mull going and getting a little bit of a tank slap. He gets a bit of damage, overtaken by likes of Boertma and Wooder. But it does look like he's starting to carry a bit of damage under braking as Reginald tries to close up onto him as well. So what on earth happened to Mull, who was off to a fantastic start? Let's see if we can go back a fraction. And, oh, just that tank slapper through the kink. A little bit of damage. Don't think too much onto it, but just enough to upset the aero. And we'll be having the driver battling for the first couple of laps, trying to get some heat in and also worrying about the damage on hand on that Porsche. Not what you want to have, especially in these very difficult conditions. Grant Sebastian going and putting a huge amount of pressure in the background. He's also looking to take up the climb. Graham Mole off circuit with Reginald going and hunting him down. Reggie with a massive slide, loses it into Miller. Miller nowhere to go, stuck in the grid. Hansi Myberg getting caught out there, and it does look like there's quite a few cars getting banged up in the run. Miller with nowhere to go, landed up with a bit of a ping pong effect. And let's go and take a look what happened out there as he came round. Saw Graham Mole rejoining. Oh, Reginald with a tank slapper. Contact. And then it was just stuck in the field. Hansi Myberg. Jean-Ray Berta getting a bit of a knock. Grant Sebastian able to get past. Oh, Tiernis getting into the side of that Porsche as hard as he can. Bit of a bang crash thud. But nothing you can do at that point. And I mean, Reginald was just hanging on for dear life. Unfortunately, his car choosing that it won. Well, I think the old saying goes, he chose violence. And that's what the Honda decided to do. It chose violence. And saw if it could have a bit of a competitors taking a bit of a knock. But that leaves me questioning, what does Hansi's car look like as he's got a problem with Reginald trying to go around the outside. He's defending, got some damage to the nose, and Reginald up on the inside, getting past Hansi Myberg. So does Grant Sebastian, as Hansi cannot get that car to turn into the corner, and landing up with a bit of a problem. So Hansi's going to try and drive it out, especially with the conditions. Vesselwood completely missing Eau Rouge, and Graham Mole, who had to lift off a little bit, now trying to keep an eye on the Ferrari just ahead of him. Will be trying to close down the distance. Not too much there. Reginald Mutaleni going side by side with Grant Sebastian. Grant is going to have the advantage under braking, as he has this big monstrous Mercedes that has great rotation. He's got next to no damage on it as well, so he's able to carve his way through. Not a problem in the world, as the Mad Panda now getting a little bit mad underfoot as he claws his way around. Got a smell of a milk tart here in the commentary box as well, so we got a bit of a beautiful smell lurking around. If that doesn't make you get hungry, well, you can always have airport food, like what Mr. LaRue is having. But some great racing being had out on the circuit here at Spa, with Graham Mole just keeping ahead of Rem van der Roos, who's closing down the distance at the moment. Van der Roos has been on a bit of a charge, hoping that he can get closer and closer and maybe go for a bit of a pass. Let's take a look at the gains and losses, because it's been quite a bit here. Bernard Barkhuizen in the exact same place. He started with Cameron de Bastos lying in second, Jaco Kutzer lying in third. All three have started in the same place and are currently running in the same place. Tinian Kube up one position from his start, lying in fourth, chasing down third place. Altwin Buerta up one position from where he started. Vessel Wooder off to a great start. Graham Mole down 3 positions, and that was unfortunately due to kissing the wall at the top of Eau Rouge. Grant Sebastian up 8 positions from where he started. He started in 16th position, last overall. He's up 8 positions. Rian van der Race chasing him down, though, is going to be trying to close down the distance and hope to get a little bit more pace as they fight their way through. Faster lap time being set by Bernard Barkhuizen as it stands. Reginald Mutaleni back down to where he started. Hansi Myberg down 3 positions. Jean-Ray Buerta down 3 positions. Rob van der Heever is down in 13th position where he started. Jared Pretorius up 1 position where he started. Tiernis Buerta down 1 position, and Darren Miller, who has now pulled into the pits with that severe damage, down 5 positions. Not quite the race he wanted to have, and we'll have to just try and refocus on everything going in hand. That does take away that single pit stop, that 55-minute solo pit stop that is needed, and considering that we do have a bit of cloud cover that's coming in next 30 minutes, our drivers will be dealing with these conditions for quite some time. Depends on what the strategies are going to be. Cameron de Bastos dealing with Jaco Kutzer right onto the back of him. The McLaren seeming a little bit more formidable this time around. Something that's a little bit different to what we've seen all season, as Kutzer really starting to ramp up the pressure. The team Try Hard Racing up against PWSR, 2 of the legacy teams that have been around in the sim racing scene here in South Africa for quite some time. So good to see these two battling it out. And while they're doing that, they have Tini and Kube. Now, do not take anything away from Kube. He likes these conditions. He likes these type of challenges and will be out on a charge to move his way through. Jared Pretorius, though, he loses out and spins himself around. And Tienes Buerta looks like he's come to a complete stop as well. He's done his pit stop, but is parked on circuit. So something has gone wrong with his car, and that will be taking him out of the running. Not what you want to see and not what you want to have for the Hybrid Academy driver. Now stuck trying to get himself going. I think managed to get it into gear. Yes, he's out and going. So something went wrong with that car. He's able to get it. Oh, Vessel going and getting a bit of a tank slapper. Loses out the drive. And let's actually jump on board and see with these conditions how difficult it is. Feathering the throttle through in second gear. Up into third, down a gear. Bernard Barkhuizen has done the fastest lap time of the race. But Vessel, who's just gently as she goes with the Ferrari over the AstroTurf, over the curb, and oh, just a snap. Rotating around. He's able to keep it up and going. And out of the wall, well done. Beautiful pirouette. Gotta say, really well done on a pirouette like that. But he has got Thunder Racer up behind him, and I'm sure the tyres are not going to like that they've done a pirouette. Thunder Race looks up on the inside, second guesses it. Not going to get past Vessel this time around. Going to try and look maybe for the inside line on the drive, all the way down to Eau Rouge. It is all about who's going to be brave now. Vessel going door to door, trying to pressurize him into the wall, and it does look like Rion's going to give up that position a little bit, come back at it, seeing that the likes of Vessel getting a little bit of an off track. Thunder Race is just going to slack off. He's going to wait for his opportunity once again, and that is going to allow Reginald Mutaleni to come into the fight. So Reginald's going to push as hard as he can to try and get onto the back of these two Ferrari 296s with the little Honda NSX as he fights his way through. Gotta say, beautiful little car. Never used to enjoy it until I saw it in person, and Reginald going and drifting it around, giving it back to its origins. Initial D, I can hear that, the initial Deja Vu song going and jumping in. ASFN, Paolo Taylor's going and saying, how's guys? See you guys tomorrow for the endurance I want to do tonight, but load shedding got the best of me. So for anyone that doesn't know Paolo, he is one of our young guns that have joined in. Good to see Paolo out there in the grandstands. Unfortunately caught out by load shedding, but with hopes and going to be in for tomorrow's race. I gotta say, really looking forward to seeing Paolo there, and it's good to have some young blood coming into the world of RaceFace GT3 racing, especially not only for our sprint series, but also for our Thursday GT3 series. That will be tomorrow night, that 1 hour, 20 minutes. And looking at the conditions, this is going to have a couple of people scratching their heads of what's going to be the most opportune moment, because we've got rain, 10 minutes time, the rain's going to stop, we're going to head into cloudiness as per Tim. And, well, Tim is not a very good weatherman, we've seen that before. And it does look like Tienes Buerta going and getting himself into the pits. So what happened to Mr. Buerta? Getting a little bit more of a drive. And let's actually jump on board. Did he lose power? Up into third gear. Second. Brakes. Feeding the power on. Oh, just the over rotation. And into the wall. That was the tow back to the pits, going and seeing out the problem. Oh man, it's the conditions are just so tricky out at the moment. It's so wet out there that there's just no grip wherever you go, and as you run closer to the curbs, as you run closer to the AstroTurf, you are asking for a world of hurt. But even though that you're backing off the throttle so much, you can land up in a world of hurt in a snap of finger moment. And it does look like Tienes has actually retired that car. It looks like the damage was a bit too much. So he's retired the car for this evening. Rather unfortunate, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, we have this type of stuff. Visti Stalgrad saying, good evening from Denmark. How are we in the race? Well, Visti, it has been an exciting one to a start. We originally qualified in the dry. It's now wet and running. And let's actually take a look at the start with Bernard Barkhuizen. This is the start, and you can see the conditions heading towards the likes of Radion and Eau Rouge is never fun in the wet, with the likes of Bernard Barkhuizen getting ahead of Cameron de Bastos, Jaco Kutzer getting that start off the run ahead of Graham Mole. But Graham Mole, as he's got around the kink, landed up in a world of hurt as the car snapped underneath him. So that is what's happening. For anyone that doesn't know Visti, Visti races in our iRacing out here on RaceFace.Pro. He raced in the TCRs and was battling it out at Red Bull Ring last night, going and fighting it out for the final round of the TCRs, which was last night. Next week is going to be the final round of our F4s out on iRacing at the Red Bull Ring. Got to say, really looking forward to it. But Visti, you're taking a look at all the racing going on. Bernard Barkhuizen putting in a absolutely stonker of a lap time, a 2:29.7 this time around, and really starting to open up that gap of 12 seconds to Cameron de Bastos, who is fighting it out in second place. Jaco Kutzer currently in third, has got Tini and Kube right behind him, 1.8 seconds behind. Ultimate Buerta in fifth, sixth position, Graham Mole, followed by Grant Sebastian Vesselwood, who has got Rem van der Race still on the back of him. That 296 Ferrari not opening up the distance as much as he would like. Rem van der Race going a little bit later under braking. Wood a little bit too deep under the corner and loses out through La Source. And that has allowed Van der Race to get ahead and open up a fair amount of distance. 0.4 of a second. He will have the whole shot into Eau Rouge and get away from Vesselwood. But now Vessel is in the tow. Does get a little bit of a kick out. Runs out a bit wide. That is going to cost him time. And at the same time, that's going to be a warning getting through his earphones from Jim saying, listen, you're getting close. Next time around, you will land up with a drive-through penalty to be served for exceeding track limits. You can only exceed track limits 3 times in a Assetto Corsa Competizione. You're only allowed 3 times to get a slap on the wrist before you have to march over to the headmaster's office and explain why it didn't quite work out. So, this is going to be a bit of an interesting one for guys to work out around Spa. And Van der Race, who's sliding that car around, not having an easy run, will be focusing on the charge, kicking up a bit of that rain, a bit of the water towards his opponent. Now, that's something I do want to talk about, especially like in the case of third place with Jaco Kutzer and Tini and Kube. Cameron de Bastos, though, has got a problem. He's gone round. Cameron de Bastos has lost out. What on earth happened to Cameron over the AstroTurf? All looking okay there, but now the right-hander. This is where it becomes a problem. We've seen the cars get upset over the AstroTurf, trying to get a little power on. Looks all fine through the left-hander. A little bit wide, drops the wheel off the AstroTurf, catches it, and oh, just 1-0 and all around. And unfortunately, that twists that car around. Still managing to maintain second, but takes away the advantage he's had as Jaco Kutzer and Tini Kube starts closing down the distance. They are now sitting 2 seconds behind him, and Tini and Kube right up against the rear spoiler of that McLaren is going to be looking to try and push past as they make their way heading into La Source. Going to be side by side. Kube going to go around the outside, hopefully maybe for a cutback as we've seen Daniel Ricciardo do once before, and not going to pull a Oscar Piastri and landing up in the wall, so he's a little bit all okay there. The McLaren of Jaco Kutzer getting a bit of vibes from the back, seeing an Italian-made car right behind him, and considering he's in the McLaren and at Spa, I'm sure there's going to be a scratch of the head going, don't want to land up in a world of hurt. Not like our dear friend Oscar Piastri, who's been having a rough time. Oh, Darren Miller going and landing up, parked in the middle of nowhere, and does look like he's got some scuff marks on that car. So he might have had some damage earlier on, and he had a massive accident earlier on in the race with nowhere to go. It was a bit of a smack that compromised his drive. And see as he fights his way through. Yep, AstroTurf, left, right, round, and that's all she wrote. Little Herbie doing a bit of a pirouette on his way through. Now trying to get some drive back. Let's actually take a look back to one of the incidents, and this is what happened to Miller as he was chasing around. Graham Mole returning to the circuit. And then Reginald Mutuleni gets sideways in the Honda. Nowhere to go. Contact. And then he is struck it in the middle. Hansi Myberg and Jean-Ray Buerta going into the side of him. That was an earlier contact which compromised his drive and put him into the pits for the first start of the race. Gerard Pretorius currently making his way through. That Ferrari not sounding like it's giving it all the gas. I think he's being very, very cautious. Reginald Mutuleni off circuit, trying to get himself back. And I think, once again, the tail of that Honda doing exactly what it did earlier, where we showed getting a bit of sideways through the long left-hander. Slightly offline. Let's see, under braking. All looking okay. Oh, there's a long drift. Pulls it back, locking up those rear brakes. Thankfully, lots of runoff area. And, it does look like Hansi Myberg decided he's going to fall off in fashion. Remember, Hansi is still carrying the damage from early on in the race. He's trying to carry the momentum through and try get that one pit stop done where the damage is all sorted out. So Hansi Myberg trying to go the long game on this one, especially with some severe damage to him. He has lost time to Jean-Ray Buerta, who got by. Jean-Ray Buerta also, with that earlier damage, has not gone into the pit. So the walking wounded currently out on the circuit, trying to keep themselves going. Jean-Ray Buerta and Hansi Myberg both going and increasing airflow through the cars by going and lifting up the bonnet on both of them. Only problem is, Jean-Ray Buerta's radiator's in the back, not in the front. So that doesn't quite help out. The engine's in the back. Well, there is a radiator in the front, actually. So, fair enough. Yep, 992 does have a radiator in the front. Small ones, but it does. Taking a look at who's leading out the order, it is Bernard Barkhuizen, followed by Cameron de Bastos, second place, going to Cameron. Jaco Kutzer in third. Tinian Kube in fourth. Altman Buerta in fifth place. Sixth is Graham Moll. Grant Sebastian, Rian for the race for that Team GSR, going and having a bit of fun out there. In 8th place, Vesselhuda in 9th place. So the Scuderia Ferrari, the GSR team, now trying to get a little bit more punch out of it. 10th place, Reginald Mutuleni, who's drifting again. He's able to catch it. Oh man, turn the TC up, my friend. Turn the TC up. You're running into problems and you're compromising your drive, and you may run into a bit of a problem. Jean-Ray Buerta dealing with Hansi Myberg, who both are carrying earlier damage from a massive, massive crash earlier on. They're going to try and power their way through. Rob van der Heever currently lying in 13th. 14th is Gerard Pretorius and Darren Miller, who is still trucking along after his massive contact. Remember, he's done his first pit stop, so while he's done his mandatory pit stop, you have to pull in the pits, put at least 1 liter of fuel in these cars, and then get back out and going. But the track is obviously drying up a bit more as Bernard Barkhuizen putting that to 28.8. He did get it down to a 26 in the dry with that BMW. Let's see if he'll be able to do it as things get better and better. The conditions getting better and better after 34 minutes. But taking a look to our Tim the Weatherman, giving us a bit of insight here. Track still wet, it's now cloudy, the rain has stopped, but we are expecting the rain to return. So anyone that's going to think about going for a dry setup may be second guessing that one, as towards the end of the race, the last remaining minutes of the race, we are going to have an absolute downpour coming down and getting this circuit rather wet. So 30 degrees should be drying up, but once that rain comes down, it's going to affect everything once again. Do you go for slicks? Do you try and persevere on the wets? That's going to be up for the drivers to figure out what's going to work for them, as Grant Sebastian right onto the back of Graham Moll, going to push a little bit harder. But Ultimate Buerta, I've got to say, running in 5th position at this point, has done a brilliant job. especially for the Pro-Am class. He is in where he wants to be for the points. If he can finish up in 5th or higher, he has scored enough points to jump his way up through the order in the championship. Remember, this is the second last round of the championship for the GT3 Sprint Series, and the second last round of the GT3 Sprint Series for 2023. So not only do you want to score points for your championship and say, hey, I got points for season 11, you want to score points around Spa for the final time of 2023 for the GT3 Sprint Series right here at Spa. So you don't want to lose out that little bit. Tini and Kube want to keep an eye out for pressurizing Yoko Kutsa at the moment. Now, Yoko has been putting a lot of faith in those fronts, and I think relying on a lot of mechanical grip there. The rear not looking as planted, sliding his way through, having a bit of a problem. I see Francois Bishop going and saying, how's it from the grandstands? Good to see Francois going and enjoying himself. Tini and Kube putting a lot of pressure onto the back of him. This Lamborghini are looking a lot more hooked up and sorted out this time round compared to the McLaren, but he is relying heavily on downforce. You can see as soon as he gets underneath the likes of that McLaren, it's looking a bit skittish. So he's trying to keep out of the slipstream through the high-speed corners, try and get a little bit more pressure onto the car, get himself sorted out. Cameron DeBastos putting in the fastest lap time, so our second place man now has put in the fastest lap time of the race, closing down the distance. Bernard Barkhuizen does look like he has pulled into the pits. Yes, he has. So Bernard Barkhuizen into the pits to get his final pit stop out the way with 32 minutes to go. A little bit too early, possibly. Going to be banking on that rain a little bit early, so let's see how that's going to work out for him. Does promote Yoko Kutsa and Tini and Kube up into second and third respectively, and Kube getting a bit of a tank slapper through the aero wash of that McLaren, not having an easy run on the way through. Now I'd like to actually ask out towards the crowd, which car has been your favorite for the season? The BMW, the Lamborghini, the McLaren, the likes of the big old Bentley, which Ultimate Burtner has been in, the Porsche, and also the Mercedes that we currently have on the circuit with Grant Sebastian. What has been your favorite car of the season that you would go into a 55-minute race for? If you got given the opportunity with all these cars parked in front of you, with, I can't say the keys because there is no keys. Well, there's a kill switch. There's a kill switch. I won't take it away. Darren Miller going and getting a little bit more off circuit, still carrying that damage. But do want to ask, out there into the grandstands, out there into the void, what would be your selection of GT3 car to race around Spa? To do a race around Spa. 55 minutes. I'm going to ask the same question tomorrow evening because it's always interesting to get a bit of an insight. Hero Pretorius going in, spinning himself around. So the Conquest Racing trying to get himself all sorted out and get himself back on track. So Francois Bishop saying Team GSR going and supporting there. I will kick it off with two cars. And they are, well, one is technically a current GT3, technically, in the Asian Le Mans series. That will be the Chevrolet Z06. Front engine, brutal V8, supercharger, can't get round it. It is just a awesome machine. Second in the GT3s, something I think a lot of people will not go and suspect, would be a BMW Z4 GT3. Yes, the Z4 with its big mighty V8. Side by side as Nkube goes around the outside of Yakukutsu, who was hunting down for a puddle of water. LaRue saying the 296 has grown on me coming from the 720S. So having the experience in sim, he's saying the 296 has grown over time. Very stable car, very well done car. I've got to say, originally wasn't a huge fan of the 296. Still not a huge fan, especially the rear of the car. But it has gone and proven itself through the time. The 720S, I do feel like it's a bit of a melted jube, but a lot of people have turned around and said the 720S has always been one of those love it or hate it cars. It does work. Paolo saying for Spa, anything in the Ferrari. That Bentley sounds good though. Let's put that to the test. The big Bentley. Now we got the Porsches around. Graham Moll and Grant Sebastian are going to do it. But let's see. Let's see. We've got a bit of time. Let's jump on board. Big Bentley. Let's see if it'll win. Brutal down the gears. Now for the throttle. Mechanical diff one, that works too. Yeah, I'd give that about a 7 out of 10. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Let's go to the Porsche 992. Mechanical diff one. Oh, down the gears, it does sound absolutely amazing. But let's go to a true V8. As a Porsche messing it up for us. Grant Sebastian trying to go around the outside. And gets past. Gotta say, Mercedes sounds absolutely amazing. But Grant Sebastian is dealing with a Porsche now in tow. That 992 really getting some legs on it. Trying to power his way through now into Blanchemont. I do suspect they're still on wet weather tires, and that's going to start affecting as it will start to climb. Cameron de Bass also putting in the fast lap time of 2:27.027. That is starting to eat into the times as Ultimate Berta pulling into the pits. Grant Sebastian getting a run up through the bus stop and now going and dealing with Graham Moll. So, if I have to talk about current cars to take around the circuit of Spa, what I've thoroughly enjoyed, the Aston Martin has been rather forgiving for me. The BMW M6, oddly enough, was one of the fun cars, but most successful car I've had around here had to be the BMW M4, despite the front grille looking like whoever designed it should be strung from the gallows with that massive, massive grille. The Merc, I'd love to say, worked well, but it didn't. It really didn't. And Herbie didn't do much in terms of the favor as they get past. That's Jared Pretorius of Conquest Racing going and letting our drivers through. Reginald Mutileni, he's still on the drive, getting a little bit sideways and up through. Eau Rouge, he's all together. Jean-Ray Bruta running out wide and losing out that little bit of time. Remember, he's still, actually, it looks like he has repaired some of that damage from his earlier tussle. Bernard Barkhuizen down into 11th position. Now trying to get a little bit more pace as he sees Altman Burtons in the pits and Rob van der Heever. Now I do want to point out this pit lane is extremely long. It is monstrously long. You will fall over of old age before you even exit the pits. And that is because from entrance to exit takes you 75 seconds. Bear that in mind. 75 seconds. That's over a minute of sitting in the pit lane with your pit limiter on. As Boertsma getting a stop-go 30-second penalty, and that is for engaging gear before he crosses the line. Man, coming off the button a little bit too early there. That stop-go 30-second penalty is going to hurt him. If you think about it, that's well over a minute and 50 seconds that he is going to be stationary and moving in the pits. It's just gutting at that point. Cameron de Bastos going to continue his charge through. Tini and Kube pulls into the pits. Yoko Kutsa into the pits. Room for the race is going to keep going. Grant Sebastian actually putting as well. And Graham Moll into the pits. So we've got a couple of cars diving into the pits and getting themselves sorted. This is the long pit lane. So they do have two pit boxes. Essentially, the first one is when you come in. And that is when you have a big field. Otherwise, you've got to go and trundle around the corner. First gear, very tight hairpin. Actually seen more than enough people collect the wall. Now, if you're in Formula 1, you actually come out that side. You don't have to go all the way through. You come out through the pit lane here. That will be the Grand Prix version. This is the endurance pit lane where it does carry you all the way through, and you can see how long you have to be on the pit limiter for. Absolutely devastating when you start getting penalties picked up as well. So, Cameron Bastos running the long game here, 23 minutes to go. Ranford and Race still out on circuit as well. Hunty Myberg and Reginald Mutilani, along with Gerard Pretorius, still needing to do their pit stops. Do you think they're running into a bit of running a little bit late into the race? Will it benefit them at this point? Only time will tell. Reginald currently in third place, trying to keep ahead of Hunty Myberg, who is up into fourth place with the passing everyone in pit lane. Remember, he's sustained a fair amount of damage. Whether he gets a bit of repair work to that car during the pit stop, I don't think so. I think he's going to try and power his way through. But Bernard Barkhuizen's the one to keep an eye out for here. 5.9 seconds behind the likes of Hunty Myberg. He is roughly, I would give it about a minute behind Cameron de Bastos as it stands. Cameron de Bastos making his way through bus stop. Now trying to get a little bit more momentum. So he's just about a minute ahead of Bernard Barkhuizen. Just. If, and this is a big if they can time it right, this is going to be a monstrous run. Paolo is saying, don't forget the Lambo. The Lambo sounds really good. Well, yes, I have to agree with it. The Lambo does sound good. That howling V10 does make a world of difference. And as I've pointed out many times before, it's one of my icebreaker talks, if I can point it out there. If you ever get an opportunity, go and see the SA GT or the Extreme Festival, and you see those GT3 cars, especially like the GT3 Lambos. When the back's off, lifted the rear, go and take a look straight down to the bell housing where the gearbox mates with the engine. Go and take a look at it. You'll see on the gearbox it says Lamborghini on some of them. Some. Bear that in mind. Some. It's actually a sticker or a plate that's been put on, and that's actually an Audi R8 gearbox. Now, a lot of the guys who bought the Lamborghinis, they know it's connected to Audi. Audi uses the same steering wheel as Lamborghini, vice versa. All the parts are carried over. But bear in mind, if you go and take a look on the gearbox, it said Audi. Now, a lot of people brought up that you're not a true Lamborghini because you're using an Audi gearbox. So Lamborghini specially made a little plate that you can buy to put over that Audi badge on the gearbox. That is stamped into the gearbox. So you can put an Lamborghini badge and say, look, it's not. To the keen eyes, they will see, yeah, that's just a little sticker. But stamped on that gearbox is still an Audi. How's that? Fun fact. Go take a look at it. And I challenge you guys to actually go take a look at it because it's rather interesting. It's the same as taking a look at the McLaren steering wheel. The basic nature of it that is carried over. The reason why it hasn't modified from its time. As we see Darren Miller, who's actually in second last place, is now putting in the fastest lap time of the race. He's actually switched over to slicks and putting that 2:26 in. So he's trying to pick up the pace. But go take a look at the McLarens as Cameron de Bastos comes across the line. Let's see if we can actually get into the cockpit and look from the helmet at his steering wheel. Not very difficult, big chunky buttons, big switches to go for. There is pretty simplistic nature that comes onto it. So that is purely on the fact of most of the drivers complained that when driving other sports cars that the buttons were too small. McLaren opted to leave the bigger stuff on because it's easier to drive in a long race. So one of the questions being asked, Bernard Barkhuizen, is he on a dry set of tires? Well, taking a look at his pit stop time, he was stopped in the box for 32.2 seconds. So one can assume he changed tires. And considering he is currently 0.9, going 1 second faster than his previous lap time, I do assume that he is on... Oh, never mind. Commentators, curse, my heavens. Sorry, Bernard. Sorry, Bernard. You were faster, but this time around, not so much. Considering you tried stopping at bus stop. He comes across the line with that 2:28.067. I do think he is on a dry set of tires. He has changed tires. 32.2 seconds does mean that's a swap of tires, so I do think he is on dry. Tini and Kuba currently in third place, I can tell you, is definitely on a set of dries with a 2:23 as he puts himself out there. So Incube putting in some proper time. Only cars that still need to do a pit stop is Cameron Bastos and Pretorius. Now Cameron Bastos is 80 seconds away from Bernard Barkhuizen. It's going to be close. It's going to be almighty close. If Cameron pulls into the box now, he will come out just in front. And I mean just in front of Bernard Barkhuizen. Not going to pull in the pits though. Has been doing 26s, so he's going to try and carry it all the way through. Going to be a bit of a close one there. It's going to be close. I do think next time when he pulls into the pits, he will be staring at Bernard Barkhuizen through his side door. A couple of interesting things going on. Reginald Mitteleni trying to power his way through. He's down in 10th position as Altman Boertma is in the pits for his stop-go 30 seconds. So going to be serving that penalty and getting himself sorted. Stopping in the box for 30 seconds. Having to twiddle his fingers while his pit boss goes and scratches his head and goes, "Did you figure out where the pit limiter is?" Yeah, we need the pit limiter next time around. Graham Mole still with a bit of a crinkle cut chippy. I think he is sponsored by Willards at this point. We're looking at the front of that Porsche as he goes side by side with Grant Sebastian, trying to pressurize Grant Sebastian into a mistake at the moment. So Grant Sebastian Graham Mole is in first place. Grant Sebastian catching up to him. And that is actually Jean-Ray Buerta. I do apologize. Jean-Ray Buerta onto the back of Grant Sebastian. And now Jean-Ray Buerta is down a couple of laps compared to the likes of Grant Sebastian. So he is currently a blue flag. When we talk about blue flag, we talk about back markers. We talk about if you're going to get past, you're going to have to really get past and run away. You can't go and mess up a fight. As Grant Sebastian runs out wide, tries to go back on the defense. It does look like Buerta backs out of it. He's trying to help Graham Mole ahead of him, but Grant Sebastian outbraking himself, lands into the weeds. And take a look, Jaco Kutza putting in that fastest lap time of 2:22.8. So the time's getting quicker and quicker. 15 minutes to go and 40 seconds left of this race. And we are expecting rain in the next 10 minutes, as per Tim, the cameraman. So, bear in mind, it's not just going to be a flooded circuit immediately. It's not going to pour down and you're going to have to bring your kayak and go swimming. No. You're not going to be paddling your way through Blanchemont straight away. But it's going to gradual. It's going to take away that grip that you originally started putting down on the circuit. It's going to start getting into a greasy, into damp conditions, and then into the wet. And taking a look at our conditions, 10 minutes we've got rain, 30 minutes we've got rain. So towards the end of the race, you can expect to be racing in the wet. And that, I think, has been the gamble for a lot of drivers. We have seen drivers switch over to slick tires, but if you can keep a bit of life in the tires, which I think Cameron Bastos is trying to do at this point, he's trying to get that little bit of breathing room. Currently 78 seconds ahead of Bernard Barkhuizen, who we can guarantee is out there on... I think he's on wet. I think he is on wet, actually. So, Jean Leroux, gonna check this one to you. Tini and Kuba is done in 21. Last lap time was 21.8. Jaco Kutza, 22. Graham Mole, 23. Grant Sebastian, 23. Graham van der Race, 23. Vesselruda, 23. Reginald Montalani, 22. Hansi Myberg, 24. Remember, he's got damage, so he's got top-end damage to that car. Jared Pretorius got a bit of damage. He's doing 25s. Robert Pandihiva doing 26s. Barkhazen and Cameron de Bastos are the only ones within the top 10 that are doing 26s. I've got a funny feeling they're on wets. They are going to push it on wets. And Cameron de Bastos, if that's the case, if he can keep a little bit more life into those tires, and it is going to be screaming for a little bit of mercy at this point, that McLaren will be really pushing on the tires. He's currently leading out the charge, but if he can keep up the pace, if the rain comes down, he will be able to keep up the momentum, and that will help him out. Less time stopped in the box, more time out on the circuit. Grant Sebastian onto the back of Graham Knoll and taking a look from the box, and I'm going to say from the PWSR box out there in the pit lane, we do have Alan Patterson, who is watching very closely of everything that's going on. Alan has been calculating, working in the background, trying to see what is going to be that make or break for the team, as Cameron de Bastos currently leading it out. You've got Darren Miller, who's had a bit of a rough time earlier on in the race with a monster load of contact. But Cameron de Bastos, Bernard Barkhazen seem to be on the sort of same wavelength. But Bernard Barkhazen has gone and opened up that little bit of a gap by doing the pit stop. He's now 77 seconds closer to Cameron de Bastos. Cameron's going to try and run this as deep into the race as possible, just waiting for that time to go. He's waiting for the rain to come out. A lot of drivers have switched over to slicks, which is from Tini and Kube, who's currently lying in third place, who's put in the fastest lap time of a 22.075. Diako Kutsa also trying to make a bit of time. So they have really going onto the slicks, and that may impact them into this race. And I can tell you that there is some rain dance going. There is talk about hitting the sprinklers at this point, because from the PWSR cam, they are wanting to push themselves that little bit more. Jaco Kutsa scoring a drive-through penalty right the way onto the end. So he is doing everything he can. He's got 3 laps to serve that penalty. Not what he wants to have, considering he was chasing down third place. He's currently in 4th. That will throw him way down the order. But Cameron de Bastos, at the moment, along with Bernard Barkhazen, you could see how much steering angle is needing to go into the car. He is trying everything he can to protect these tires and is begging for the rain to come at this point. It is looking rather grim if the rain doesn't come down. Oh man, through Blanchemont, it's a massive lift for him. And I think Bernard Barkhazen, just using all the rotation. He is also just crying for the rain to come down, as Reginald Mutaleni putting in the fast lap time. Well done, Reg. You got the fast lap time at 2:21.7. Not often that we get to see Reg putting in that time. But the rain will be the deciding factor. And at the moment, Bernard Barkhazen's now closed out the gap to 75 seconds. We do have pit wall open for everyone that is sitting in the grandstands, and also for everyone that's watching. Go head over to pit wall, look up RaceFace, and let's see if I can actually get pit wall up for you guys. I think it's also down in the description if memory serves me right. But you want to go and take a look at these sector times. You want to see how close it's going to be, because it is all or nothing for these drivers. And with rain just sitting, looming, you can see those clouds just waiting for an opportunity to give a bit of a cloud burst. And I can tell you 2 drivers at the moment that are begging for it to come in the last 9 minutes of the race. Then you have got everyone else like Ninefive, is closed up 4.1 seconds behind Bernard Barkhuizen. And now Ninefive is on slicks and should make short work of Barkhuizen as he comes across the line, putting in yet the fastest lap time of the race at 21.575. Saying, Reginald, you had it for a short time, now it's gone. But Bernard Barkhuizen's going to have to get defensive here, as there's no pit stops between himself and Ninefive. He's on the wet, sliding the car around. Ninefive on the dries. 8 minutes and 30 seconds to go. 10 minutes, we're going to have a little bit of drain. That may come, a little bit of rain, maybe. It depends on how it's going to go, with 30 minutes going with minus golf. So we're going to have a light drizzle at this point. I don't know who's hurting more Is Ninefive banking on it's going to stay dry and persevere through it? Bernard Barkhuizen and Cameron de Bastos hoping for the rain to come down, especially Cameron at the moment, leading the race, has really left it to a gamble. Those tires begging for mercy, but if the fight continues, he may be able to carry his way on. Reginald going and putting in the fast lap time at 2:21.08. I could tell you that the PWSR team, along with the KSR team, are looking to the skies, trying to figure out, can they punch a hole in the cloud or something to let the rain come through? As Ninefive goes side by side, Barkhuizen's not going to fight him on this one, knows that he can't fight him, backs out of it, and that does allow Ninefive into second place. So Ninefive, who has taken the early gamble to go out on slicks, seems like it's paying off. Barkhuizen doing everything he can, hanging on for dear life, will be looking at, okay, if I can't get first, it's gonna have to be second place. It's going to have to be it. Cameron de Bastos is now into the pit. He has called it. He is now getting into the box. This is going to cost him a bit of time. Ninefive making his way through. Now heading into the bus stop. Locks it in just fine. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Cameron still making his way through. No, he's stopping in the box. Ninefive comes across the line in second place. Will there be enough? Can Cameron de Bastos get this car out? Cameron's got to really give it everything he's got. He's got to lay it all on the line. Barkhuizen though, but just saying that, here comes a drizzle right at the end of the race. 6 minutes to go. Cameron is out. And now this is it. He is ahead of Ninefive. Both are on slicks. And this has now changed the race. There is a drizzle. Bernard Barkhuizen will have the advantage if it gets worse. If it stays as it stands, Cameron de Bastos and Ninefive are going to be fighting it out on a very greasy circuit. And Cameron fighting tooth and nail. And Ninefive taking the inside line. We'll be trying to get it all sorted out. Now the question is, can Cameron really get a little bit of heat into those tires? And I'm going to ask Alan, there's 5 minutes and 25 seconds left of the race. Is Cameron on slick tires, or has he taken the opportunity and gone to wet for the last 5 minutes? Let's see. To the PWSR team, this is all on the line. Have they taken slicks? That will be the question. That will be all she wrote when they come through. But the rest of the field will be hurting at this point as the rain's starting to get worse and worse. It's getting greasy. No one can change their tires. It is done and dusted. You've got to deal with what you got. Alan saying, don't know, we're not on cobs, we're out this evening, but sitting, biting his nails, and I have to agree on that, because if you think about it, the only person who is currently on wet tires is Bernard Barkhuizen. Both Cameron de Bastos and Ninefive are out on slicks. Bernard Barkhuizen, a little bit slower this time, has damaged those wet weather tires, closed up the distance to Cameron de Bastos. Cameron needs to get a little bit of power underfoot here to try and close up the distance to Ninefive. He's 4.6 seconds behind, and he is trying to gain a little bit of time. Graham Mole doing everything he can with Rian van der Rust right onto the back of him. 0.5 of a second separates him. But we now into the last 3 minutes and 48 seconds of the race. Ninefive through the likes of Rouge, you can see having to lift off the gas a little bit. Cameron de Bastos, though, runs out a little bit wide. You got to send it, my friend. You've got to send it. 4.9 seconds. Bernard Barkhuizen getting the drive. He is doing 2:29s at this point. Reginald Mutaleni, though, runs out a little bit wide, a little bit too far through Blanchemont, going and visiting spectators. Run for the race, trying everything he can to get a little bit more power. Rain is progressively going to get worse. The conditions are going to get worse towards the end of this race. It's going to be a last-minute dash. Nkube just doing what he needs to do at the moment to keep ahead of Cameron de Bastos. Cameron trying to get a little bit more drive. Bernard Barkhuizen now 2.8 seconds behind him, closing down the gap. And they are fighting it out for the Pro Championship. Remember, Bernard Barkhuizen is leading the championship. Second place is Eric Kirstein. Third is Kieran Patterson. Grant Bastian in fourth in the championship, who's running fourth overall. Darren Miller, who is down in 15th position. He's running fifth in the championship. Ninefive, who is running 6th in the championship, ahead of the likes of Tianas Buerta, Christopher Radloff, and Cameron de Bastos, will be on a bit of a charge to score some valuable points for the second last race of the season. And Bernard Barkhuizen now has closed up the gap, 1.8 seconds behind Cameron de Bastos. So Bernard Barkhuizen is going to slowly reel Cameron in, and I think that is from the conditions, and it does look like Ultimate Buerta along with Jean-Ray Buerta going and getting caught out with these conditions getting worse and worse. Ninefive, though, runs out wide through Blanchemont. He's able to keep it going. Cameron de Bastos still pushing as hard as he can. Can see the likes of that big BMW starting to become a hunt. Oh, missing. I think he is on slicks. Cameron de Bastos is on slicks. Bernard Barkhuizen is on wet. And we've just been informed by Jim that our leader, Ninefive, who is just going around at a snail's pace, trying everything he can with a 2:33 ahead of Cameron de Bastos, 2:34. Oh, this is down to the wire. This is the final lap, ladies and gentlemen, and it does look like Nkube losing a bit of time up through Eau Rouge. Cameron de Bastos going and taking matters into his own hands, runs slightly off circuit. Bernard Barkhuizen closing, 50 seconds to go, and they are fighting it out. Then you have got the likes of Graham Mole and Rian van der Rust. They are also keeping very close to one another. Graham Mole keeping a little bit of a tight line, running a bit wide, and Graham Mole loses it. Van der Rust just narrowly missing, and he's able to keep going, but Mole with a bit of a problem. Nkube with 1 lap to go. Cameron de Bastos, and this is not even half a lap to go. Cameron de Bastos has got to make this car as wide as physically possible. He's got to park it on the circuit to keep Bernard Barkhuizen at bay. Bernard, who has got the drive, he's on wet weather tires, is going to force Cameron de Bastos into mistake. Cameron slowing it down into the apex, fighting it out. This is for second. I think they've given up chasing down for first, and it is going to be a proper run down to the line. Ninefive trying to get his way around the circuit. Cameron de Bastos going side by side, goes out wide, gets on the power a little bit early, gets it, rears lit up, trying everything he can. Wet weather tires, first dries. Cameron gets it, nice and deep on the inside. A little bit of contact with Bernard Barkhuizen. Bernard getting a little bit sideways. But I think Bernard has done enough to get the drive on Cameron, who's fought it out all the way through. But I think that is all she wrote. Coming through Blanchemont for the final time for our GT3 Sprint Series. for 2023 will be going to Tinian Kube out in first. If he can keep up the pace, Bernard Barkhuizen taking that gamble early on, currently in second place. Cameron de Bastos, after every little fight, getting third place. Grant Sebastian going to be finishing up in fourth place, but well done to Tinian Kube as he takes first place for our second last round of the championship. Grant Sebastian will be taking fourth place. Rian van der Race, who, like a cat with 9 lives, just survived. And keeping ahead, will be finishing up in fifth place with Graham Mole. With that damage early on, the back kicking out underneath him. And what a monster fight. So Graham Mole coming across the line in 6th place. 7th will go to Vessel Order if he can just bring it back from Blanchmont. Yakakutsa trying everything he can. He's in the battle with Reginald Mutuleni. A couple of things being said from the grandstands. And Alan Patterson saying, mega racing. Well done to Bernard. Congrats to Tinian Kube. And Cameron de Bastos. Oh, as Reginald loses it out through Blanchmont. Reverses it into the wall. Oh, that's going to hurt. That's a Honda that's not going to like itself. And getting some work done. But Alan Patterson putting out the congratulations to Cameron de Bastos and saying, well done, mega drive. You did us proud. I will have to agree on that one. All the drivers tonight, I've got to take my hats off to, that have done an incredible job. Remember, they qualified in the dry. They raced in the wet. It went back to dry. It then landed back to wet conditions right towards the end. It has been some very, very challenging conditions. Rob van der Heever will finish up in 11th. Altman Boertema in 10th, 12th position. I do apologize. And Jean-Ray Boerta 13th. 14th is Jared Pretorius, along with Darren Miller down towards the end. So we've got a little bit of unofficial results by the looks of it. Rob van der Heever still trying to get his way through. Gingerly getting along into bus stop. No having to push it all too hard, especially with these conditions. Rather just finish up a great time. But what a race it was for our second last round of the GT3 Sprint Series. And just to give you guys a little bit of insight, this is actually our in-game chat. The guys are saying, great racing, well done, freaking amazing and amazing. That is from our drivers just going and saying, wow, what a race that was. Right here at Spa-Francorchamps. And I got to say, a rather exciting run nonetheless with these very difficult conditions. That being said, we're going to be moving on to our highlights to put on in the background, and we will be chatting, I think, to the legends, I can call them, in this, and they rightfully deserved that little call out. And let's have a chat to the likes of Cameron de Bastos, who fought it out to the end. Cameron, well done, buddy. Great racing out there. A bit of a late gamble. You were hoping the rain to come out a bit earlier from what we saw. Unfortunately, it decided to come out on its own time. How are you feeling after that race?
Boiling. A bit mad, but boiling. Took a gamble on that one. It paid off, but missed the box a little bit, and that unfortunately sent me a bit back. Otherwise, would have had in Kube. But yeah,
I've got to say that the conditions itself really lent it on. So you started in. Did you start on slicks, or did you opt to stay on wets for the start of the race?
So for the race, I opted to stay on wets. Ran a nice little 32 or 38 psi there in the middle stint. I was still able to set some fast laps, but yeah, let's just say it was boiling. It was very hot, and sometimes the brakes were a bit failing at one point. So yeah.
And I've got to say, like, before I'll let you go, is there anything that you want to say from your part? Anything you want to challenge drivers? This is the second last round that's done and dusted. We're moving into our final round next week for our RaceFace GT3 Sprint Series Season 11 and for 2023. Is there anything you would like to say from your side before we move on with our drivers?
Yeah, Stephen, it's kind of funny. Spa is the track that I love the most. It's the first track that I scored a top 10 in the Pro Div. And it's also the first track that I score a podium with, which was second, but oh well, all things couldn't happen today. But no, so Spa holds a special place in my heart, specifically, so it's good to be able to get it here. So, but the focus today was just getting the maximum amount of points that we possibly can for the team's title for me and Kieran. Couldn't race tonight, but yeah, now it's going into the final round. Hopefully we can get some good points for the final round and get the team championship wrapped up.
Well, Alan Patterson said they were watching you from wherever they are, so they're going and saying absolutely well done. You've done the team proud, and they're super impressed with it. So well done on your side, and it seems like the team are quite impressed with your performance this evening. So I think a chocolate milkshake is in order, and is for certain.
Yeah, absolutely, no, for sure. What's it, Kieran? Stephen.
I think if you call me Kieran, you're going and offending Kieran. I don't have the beautiful charm and looks, you know. And in terms of cricket, the only thing I know how to do is get hit by the ball, not catch it. So
on the track, so yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You know, Kieran's on the circuit. I'm too scared to do that. You know, start the car and already get PTSD and nerves going on. Moving on, though, thank you very much, Cameron. We're going to talk to our leader of the race and who actually finished in first place, Ninefive. Not often we get to see you out in the front and have a chat to you, taking a gamble with slick tires towards the end. How do you feel with the conditions going and challenging like that? And then right at the end, the rain coming down and you having to push that little bit harder. How do you feel of taking slicks and then suddenly having it all swap out underneath you?
Thank you, Stephen. First of all, I just like to commend Cameron for his drive. Yeah, he was pretty strong there. Well, I came into this race, I didn't know what I had in my package. You know, I wasn't feeling like I was good, but the changeable conditions, you know, managed to work on the setup and just just get the strategy right. You know, we just half the tank, and luckily the rain ended at the right point so we could change to slicks, and then yeah, we just hunted the guys down. I mean, the guys in the team said we couldn't do it, but when we saw the guys getting closer and closer, we were like, oh, we actually got it, and managed to hold on to it. Because yeah, if it was one more lap, yeah, because I think the second stint I was in slicks, and if it was one more lap, then these guys would have gotten it.
I mean, it was a bit of a challenging one. And what was the decision to go, right, let's put this onto slicks. Let's get this out there onto slicks. And no matter what happens, we commit to it. What was the breaking point of having that commitment?
Yeah, I think it was just looking at Cameron and seeing him roll the dice. And we just thought, hey, you know what? We got to roll the dice in a different way. Because, yeah, he had good pace all weekend. And yeah, we just thought, not all weekend, I mean, all
racing weekend.
All racing weekend. And just thought, you know, we got to do something, we got to try something different, you know, to catch him up. And I'm glad we tried. And yeah, it worked out. But yeah, there was like a lot of, the throttle was like crazy sensitive. I really had to concentrate and stay off the curbs. I was actually, just on the limit.
Absolutely incredible, scoring some points, and will be moving you out of 6th place in the championship. So just getting those valuable points towards the end. But how does it feel to take the checkered flag? And I believe this is your first time getting the checkered flag in the Pro Division.
Yeah, it's the first W. Yeah, it feels great. Yeah, I think all these seasons of RaceFace are starting to pay off. Really enjoying the racing and learning about, you know, the car. And yeah, it's also nice to have overtaken, I think it's Barkazen. You don't do that all the time. You don't. So it was quite cool.
Fair enough. And well, you say speak of the devil, and he or she will come into the box. But Ninefive, from your side, anything you want to say in closing You're allowed to challenge drivers. You're allowed to challenge everyone out there. You're allowed to say thank yous. Come on, you're allowed to push the envelope. Remember, keep it PG, no swearing, and no, none of the bullying sort of thing. But you're allowed to, give a bit of a Max Verstappen feel to it if you really would like.
Nah, I'm not that type of person. All I want to say is, just GG to the guys for clean racing. It was quite nice to roll the dice and see how we ended up, and also to the organizers for trying something different. I think it's the way to go. We bought this game. We gotta play it in all conditions, not 100% optimum track and dry weather. So, yeah.
You
Two
see,
more races like this.
you didn't pull the League of Legends or the Counter Strike of GG Easy. So I'll give you respect to that one. You could have, but you didn't. So well done. So
I will say it though, GG easy.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, well done tonight, mate. Great.
Well,
Sure.
thank
I
you.
have no idea who was going to win there, but well done, dude.
Well, with that being said, you've heard the voice in the background a little bit down mellow, and that is Bernard Barkhuizen. And Bernard, welcome to the commentary box. Second place, where it was looking a little bit rough for you. How do you feel?
Sure, Brew, I'm knackered, eh? Just like I messed up my strategy completely. I started with the right strat, but eventually, I fueled too little in the beginning. So I started with 4 liters of fuel, and then I needed to pit for more fuel. But then I couldn't put on dries because it was still wet. So I was kind of confused and didn't know what to do. So I stayed out in wets for a whole dry stint, and then completely destroyed my tires. And then the rain came again at the end. So yeah.
I think
Unlucky,
but
tonight he made it at the end. I was thinking I was going to catch him, but I didn't make it.
So I've got to say, was the rain coming down at the end a sigh of relief for coming out because you did take the gamble of going out in the wet, or was it a bit of just have to deal with what we got?
Yeah, I think it didn't work out, because if you stay out for 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes with wets on a dry track, you wreck them completely. So it doesn't matter if it actually rained at the end because I had no grip. So I don't know. I think the dries at that stage on a wet track would have been about the same. So well done to the guy in front.
So I've got a bit of a question. We've seen you battling out with Kieran Patterson, especially in the championship. How was it to take on Cameron Bastos, going door to door in that last little bit, and seeing the defense that he was putting up in the McLaren? I mean, that's not often we get to see the two of you come to blows on the circuit.
Yeah. Look, I think it was pretty much down to the tires. So I think at that stage we were pretty much with the same type of worn tires. So it was pretty much just luck at that time. So it was a great battle. We actually had a shove I think it's Lecom, or I don't know that corner, but he just made a mistake and he braked too late, and I went for the inside and we nudged each other, and then managed to get in front. So great race.
Absolutely incredible. And before I move on to our final guest, I'm going to ask two more things. Bernard Barkhuizen, anything you want to say from your side? Once again, open mic. Just remember to keep it clean. But you're allowed to challenge. You're allowed to do all that type of stuff. Anything from your side, since you don't get to often talk on the microphone.
Yeah, sure. No, thanks to the organizers. Thanks to Bertus, Steven and Hansi. You guys are great. This platform deserves more races. So just thanks to you guys, and thanks for making this possible. And see you next time.
All right, thank you very much. And we've got first, second, and third in the box, which doesn't usually happen. So I'm going to go and ask Mr. Nkube, from your side, anything you want to say to your competitors heading into the final race, considering you laid the first strike of "Watch Me, I'm Coming" here at Spa. You've got the final race next week. Anything you want to say to your competitors? It looks like your microphone is a bit out.
Oh, sorry. I said, yeah. I just said, yeah. Let's bring it the next race. Let's keep it clean and let's enjoy racing. That's all I have to say.
Spinale.
Yeah. Yes.
There we go. Fair enough. Okay, moving on to second place, Bernard Barkhuizen. Anything you want to say to your competitors? You're leading the championship. 1 round to go for the RaceFace GT3 Sprint Series for 2023. I'm sure that you've got a little bit of a... You've been a very kind guy right now, but I'm sure the little bit of a competitive aspect is sitting there in the background.
Yeah, no, look, I'll always bring my best. It was a pity Kieran wasn't here tonight. I think it would have been a close race at the end. But yeah, no, leading the championship, feeling confident. Yeah, bring on the next one, eh?
Bring the next one. Okay, fair enough. And moving on to Cameron de Bastos, who came in third place. Cameron, everyone's been so nice at the moment in Kube saying, bring it on, bring the heat. Well, let's see if you can trump him. One more round, Mr. Sasquatch. What have you got to say to your competitors? Oh, nice thinking. Cameron is really trying to think this one through. And Cameron, you still there? Nope. Looks like Cameron is out and about. So we're going to bring in our final guest who's been waiting patiently in the box. And I've got to say, very patient on circuit, very patient in the box. And that is Grant Sebastian. Grant, well done for the race out there. Proper side-by-side battles. That Merc had to work hard this evening. How are you feeling being in the Mad Panthers and dealing with your competitors? Just not giving you all the breathing room in the world, especially through Eau Rouge.
Oh man, another amazing race. I'm sure you enjoyed it, and I'm sure everyone will agree. A lot of effort went in behind the scenes to get this race to be as good as it was. But on track, I totally just destroyed quali. I thought I was a bit too clever and tried to get the perfect dry temperatures for like a last lap shootout, and then I invalidated, so I started 16th. And the race just needed someone to be cool, calm, and collected and make the right decisions. And myself and Kube were on Discord, so we were speaking through the whole race about strategies and how we're going to beat those two guys in front, because they were quick in the wet. So we needed things to fall in our favor, and it did, because we fueled with one lap left to go. 1 liter left to go. We fueled just before it started getting dry, so it was perfect for us to do the switch. And then we were just a bit worried because there was 3 minutes to go, 4 minutes to go, where the rain was coming back and we were going to suffer. And we did suffer. Our PSIs were like 21, so there was literally no grip. But I kept telling Kube just to stay focused, not to push, not to make mistakes, because he deserves his first RaceFace win after being in the community for so long. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. So overall, another great event. Hopefully the same tomorrow, and we'll see what happened in Monza as well.
It's definitely been a good one. You've had some exciting racing. That Merc was under some serious pressure, which is always good to see. And to hear that you were in communication, it's always grand to hear what the background thoughts of it. But heading into the final round next week for the RaceFace GT3 Sprint Series for Season 11 and for 2023, might I add, seeing that Incube managed to get the win after it all, you had Graham Mole and John Ray Buerta constantly on the back of you. What's your game plan heading into the final round?
Well, I love Monza. If I see Monza in a pub race, I just can't help myself but join it and just love driving the track. The Merc should be good there, but I think with the BOP, everyone's pretty equal. The fight today was insane. Mr. Mole and the other guy, they never let up. They made very few mistakes, but I had a lot of confidence in my own ability. I knew I would get past, and I knew when the weather changes, my strengths would come into play. For the tires I was on. So for next week, I'm hoping more of the same. The rain was the great equalizer, as another guy now Discord says, and it meant that Mr. Incube could finally show the skill he has, not just a real life racer, but also sim racer. The skill he has came to the front, and it was a well-deserved again victory for him. So Monza's going to be another doozy. I hope everyone tunes in again.
It's going to be an incredible one. And how are you feeling after narrowly missing, as original Mussolini says, the washing machine carnage through Lacombe?
Ah man, when you've been racing as much as I have, you have to expect that this is going to happen, and you have to tell yourself not to overdrive, even though you want to. You have to put all of that back of your head. It comes with experience, and I think everyone who's driven in these conditions, especially last week as well, have now risen a level. We've allowed them to gain that experience and that talent, and more important, to know that they are good enough to compete in these conditions with the pro drivers on this mixed grid. So everyone was pretty clean. I think there was a few big accidents, but I knew that if I kept my nose clean and I chose the right battles, I would come out in front. So I think from 16th to 4th was testament to that.
I think that there was only one big accident and 2 minors. How's that for a wet race? How's that for a wet race? You usually have a lot of a bigger smash than that. But before I let you go to go and enjoy the celebrations, is there any last things you would like to say from your side, Grant? And once again, you're allowed to really poke the bear if you really want to. I mean, come on.
No, not my style. Not my style. It's nice to be battling with the Barkhuizens and the Camerons of this world, so they can expect another fight at Monza of a similar nature. But a massive shout out to Hansi again. You guys do not understand how much he puts in the background. Myself and Hansi were DMing from this afternoon, early afternoon, right up until about 30 minutes before the race, on making sure that this was all set up so it could deliver a good race. So him being willing to listen and willing to make some changes that I requested, and giving his feedback, is exactly what the community needs. So a big shout out to him. And again, thank you for agreeing to stream at the beginning. Without the stream, everyone wouldn't maybe have been able to enjoy this that we've done now.
Well, I'm gonna put a kind of a rock in that one. You know, you went into the race on 124 points, with third place Kieran Patterson on 129 and Eric Kirstein on 140. So, scoring your positioning at the moment, you may have leaped into third place. Just to chuck it out there. No pressure or anything.
I haven't looked at the scoreboard like since the beginning of the season. I never really do, but
fourth place.
It's really great.
Before this race.
I've had one of my best seasons. A lot of people have DM'd me and said the same, and I feel like I've improved on a level. But there's still so much more to go. So I'm happy for the third place, but I'm just so grateful that the community went through the highs and the lows this year.
And Grant, I think we lost you. I think we lost Grant Sebastian. All right, well, before we wrap up tonight, Cameron Bastos, any final words from your side? Everyone's been really nice. Grant, thank you very much for the whole thing. But now you've just heard that he was 4th in the championship and may have jumped your teammate who's lying 3rd in the championship. Cameron, any last bits from your side, and feel free to poke the bear.
I think for now he should just be comfortable. Kieran is coming back in Monza, even though he hates Monza passion. But he shouldn't get too comfortable. The PWSR guys are coming with full speed. But yeah, tonight, well, now everybody from the community will know who's the reason why we're having a flooded track and everything like that. But no, yeah, the racing has been very good. For only my 2nd season in the pro full time has been very quite and Grant's back and quite exceptionally fun. I think he got hit with the load shedding.
Indeed.
But the plan for tonight, you disconnected for a bit there.
Yeah, the load shedding, but I just wanted to say bye and thank you again.
Cheers, Grant. Thanks again for the good race, even though we didn't really come together.
Good job, man. Yes,
Good.
It,
Cheers.
it, it will happen. It will happen. You
Sometime.
guys will come to blows.
Oh,
Well,
we've had our blows together in pubs and fun lobbies for fun, but yeah, no, the goal for tonight was just get as much points as we possibly can, and going to the final round of Monza, leading the team's champ is definitely what we wanted. So now we just need to finish both cars and secure that top spot on the teams. Yeah.
absolutely incredible. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for joining us here at RaceFace.Pro for the GT3 Sprint Series Round 6 Season 11. It's been truly an honor. It's been a bit rainy. I've got Tim, who is complaining that he wants to get his wet socks off, and Jim, who's been rather comfortable next to the nice dry heater, having a bit of a drink as well. So we're going to say thank you very much from our side. Make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the bell notification icon. Absolutely tremendous stuff. And as we loom closer and closer to the end, you can hear it in the background. Dum, dum, demonetized. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'll see you next time right here at RaceFace.Pro for tomorrow evening for our GT3 Series Season 16. And like always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.